Sound. There you go. Wow. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. Let's start over again. Here, we'll pretend that never happened. Okay, here we go. Let's going to start all over again. Ready? Sorry about that, everybody. Had a little trouble here. PC decided to get all wonky on me. I had to shut down a whole bunch of things and redo things. I think the problem stems from the fact that I've been recording videos last night and this morning and was probably all sitting in the RAM somewhere. Anyway, wherever you find yourself around the world, well, there's Adrian's in a very cold Port Elizabeth. Well, folks, welcome aboard in Daba, Africa. We're just going to go for 1 hour today. Bring folks up to speed on some of the news events from around the world, a few eventful things taking place as usual. So whether you find yourself in the UK, the Republic of Ireland, somewhere on the continent of Europe where people are protesting against governments and the capricious governments in Bulgaria, in Serbia, across the continent, people are hot full of this lockdown and what their governments are doing. And of course, in South Africa, people are quite fed up. So I've got a video which I'll be premiering here after this stream about hotfall in South Africa. So hopefully you can tune in for that. Welcome to folks to this short notice stream. So let's see. Not a lot of folks here because I don't think the word got out because I just announced just put the stream up a few minutes ago. I was going to do it earlier, but I was focusing on getting some videos put out, so I didn't do it earlier. So let's go ahead and say hello to those who are in the chat already. A few folks here. We've got Anthony. Good to see you, Anthony. Variable Vision. Have I heard of Yon Direction? I think you should have them as a guest in your stream. No, I haven't, but let me make a note of that, Variable Vision. Thank you for that. Gareth, good to see you. Welcome. By the way, the video from last night or from this morning for those of you in South Africa in which I gave an assessment of President Ramaphosa's performance is doing quite well. Thank you all so much for that. Approaching 2,000 views in just a matter of hours. It's pretty good. And don't you dare forget about the pretty blonde. Okay. Good evening, Tanya. Good to see you. Anthony, Lido, no sound. Yeah, I should have fixed that by now. And Lezan. Hello. And Lezan is freezing too. Sorry you guys are so cold. It's wintertime in Southern Africa, but it's quite nice here in central Pennsylvania. Actually, it's too nice. Kind of brutally humid out there for me, so I'll pass. I'm wearing this this jacket here, which is for colder weather, rainy weather, not because I'm cold, but because I did a video on Sudan and how they've changed their laws this month, and that should be for the benefit of women and girls. And since my focus was talking about women and girls in that, I thought I'd wear this 2017 Rugby World Cup from the Women's Rugby World Cup, when we still called it the men and women's. I can't get this thing even. It's all crooked there. Anyway, so this was in Ireland. I went to Belfast and watched the Women's Rugby World Cup. Hey, there's the brew. Welcome. I'm glad to see you there. It's cold there. Yeah, I'm sure it is, guys. Hi, Ashley. Morton, good to see you. Yeah, folks, so I got some news to talk about. Of course, surprise, surprise. Not a surprise. Let me see. Discut hier in geen OBS te groepnie. Huh? This is the Monday-est Monday that ever Monday. Okay, Raptor Man. I like that. That's cute. Yeah, so let me get to some of the news here, and I'll talk about that. For those of you who may or may not have caught the news, let me bring that up very quickly here. There it is, browser. Okay. All right. So for starters, Zindizi Mandela has died at the age of 59, ladies and gentlemen, in case you were unaware of that. Daughter of Nelson Mandela has passed away. Now, for some reason this is not loading. I was able to load this earlier, but I ran this story. She's passed away. Of course, this is the lady who is the ambassador to Denmark for the African National Congress, who last year famously went after South Africans in very racially charged nonsense in which she posted a tweet about land. And let's see, what she said last year is that, "Dear apartheid apologists, your time is over. You will not rule again. We do not fear you. Finally, the land is ours." Now, the problem I have with that is if she is upset with apartheid apologists, that's her prerogative, you know? I mean, that the people who apologize for apartheid, that time is come and gone, and it's not coming back. So, yeah, okay, I don't have a problem with that. But the last part, finally, the land is ours, to link land with apartheid apologists is not legitimate. This lady stoked racial discord and was not sanctioned for it. Nothing happened to her. She passed away today, July 13th, 2020, at the age of 59 in Johannesburg. And she leaves behind a husband and how many children? I think she has 2 or 3 children. She's passed away. The ambassador to Denmark, another person living off the fame of their parents' name. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. She's passed away today. So I don't know if you guys saw that. I guess some people have seen it. She was a waste of space. Hendrik, good to see you there. Charmaine, welcome. Mary Duplessis, Old Brown Sherry. Yeah. Olaf, hey. What else we got there? Good to see Olaf, Stronger Together. Hendrik, don't like racists. Yeah, I don't like racists either. Unfortunately, they're all around us. And the sad part is they purport to be progressive and caring and loving. And in fact, there are racists in our midst who are not that at all. They just wear the label. In fact, they're tyrants, totalitarians, and fascists. We see it here every day in the United States with groups like the anti-fascist movement, the Antifa, which is actually nothing but a bunch of brown shirt Nazis who are trying to stomp out free speech and choice, association. And if you say anything that opposes them, they just go after you. And they have lots of willing cohorts. In our government, we have people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, a failed bartender who couldn't hold a job, couldn't balance a checkbook, and had tremendous amount of credit card debt, yet managed to get herself elected to a wildly leftist district in New York, and now purports to be a genius in economics, where she has a degree from an Ivy League school. But this woman thinks that the unemployment rate is low. This is before COVID-19. The unemployment rate under Trump was low because people have to work 2 and 3 jobs. But you see, the unemployment rate is not based on the number of jobs. It's based on the number of people who are in the workforce. So this Rhodes Scholar genius level of stupidity from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is what we get for governance. Now, this leftist, when the CEO of Goya Foods, the largest Hispanic-owned food company in the United States, in North America for that matter, I believe, even bigger than Mexico, but certainly in the United States, $1.5 billion in annual sales, 4,000 employees, founded by 2 Spanish immigrants, one who was in Puerto Rico, the other was in Spain, migrated to Puerto Rico. They both came to New York and started their business in 1936. Hispanic-owned company. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, ostensibly is Hispanic based on her surname, based on her self-identification, although recently she claims she's black now. So yes, there are black Hispanics, but most Hispanics either identify as Hispanic or Hispanic white or Hispanic black. They don't change their status when the new kid is in school and it's something cool to be something else. Anyway, so that's Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and that's the sort of governance that we have on this side. So we're with you, South Africa, in many respects. Hot chocolate with a tot of brandy is my new thing. Well, cool, Hendrik. You better preserve that brandy because the alcohol ban is back on in South Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, in case you missed my video that I premiered earlier this morning on Sudan, in Sudan, the government of Sudan has made it legal for non-Muslims to buy, import, and sell and consume alcohol. Yeah, you can buy alcohol in the Sudan now if you're not a Muslim. Now, this is not a right or privilege that South Africans share with the Sudanese. Because in South Africa, the African National Congress is undemocratic, unelected, unaccountable. National Coronavirus Command Council has deemed alcohol to be evil. Once again, it's evil. So you won't be able to buy alcohol as of today, the 13th of July, 2020. Lord knows until when that ends, but that is the case. So there you go. Speaking of people who've passed away, and this is more on the celebrity line, I'm not a big person who pitches celebrities, but I did want to share this because she was a heck of an actress. She's very attractive and very nice lady when I heard her talk. This lady passed away today as well at the age of 57. Kelly Preston, the actress and I love they say actress. She's an actress. Get over it. Kelly Preston, the actress and wife of John Travolta, died at the age of 57. From a long fight with breast cancer. She leaves behind John Travolta and 3 children that they had together. Shocked by this sad news, Maria Shriver said on Twitter, Kelly was such a bright, loving soul, a talented actress, and a loving mom and wife. My heart breaks for her family who've already known such sadness and grief. Preston had a lengthy acting career in movies and television, starring opposite Kevin Costner in the 1999 film For the Love of the Game. In 2003, she starred in What a Girl Wants as the mom in the live-action adaptation of The Cat in the Hat. The following year, she appeared in the music video for Maroon 5's She Will Be Loved. Yep, she also appeared in other things like Battlefield Earth. They've had some tough breaks in the family. Their son, who was 16, died from a seizure in 2009. And but Kelly Preston dies at the age of 57, ladies and gentlemen. That's kind of sad news. She was very Yeah. Yeah, John Travolta had already lost a son. Yeah, really sad. They've had a tough history in that family. So I'm sure they're due for a few breaks. But that's why I shared it. She was a lot of Hollywood actors and personalities are just useless toads. But no, Kelly Preston, I never had that impression of her. She always seemed like a good person, and I appreciate her acting. She was very talented. It is sad. And she was quite a beautiful lady. Yep. Yeah, Mandela, Mark, I mentioned a short while ago that Zindizi Mandela passed away at the age of 59. I don't know what got her, but she died in Johannesburg. She was the ambassador to Denmark and also the person last year that stoked racial discord with her nonsensical tweet, which I mentioned at the beginning. So some folks are joining us now. Welcome if you're just getting in. ANC's a pawn, just like Creepy Joe. Yeah, pawn for who? The Chinese? AOC is a 12-year-old adult's body. Thank you, Morton. I think that's an accurate description. Michelle Jardin says hello. Hello, Michelle. Welcome. On your show this morning, you said Black Swan. Disappointing. Why is that disappointing, Gareth? Because I said Black Swan? Is that racist now? Morton says, I've been told Winnie had a few kids while Nelson's in prison, but never been able to find anything out. Who knows? Cyril is a cock bartender. We didn't even get last round. Yeah, exactly. Oh, my goodness. Talk about a party pooper. Not even an opportunity to run out and stock up, right? Warned you, folks. The moment they opened it up, it was likely they were going to turn the tap off again. So go stock up. If you had the money, stock up. For those who are clever and don't trust the African National Congress, also known as Angry Naughty Children, for those of you out there not familiar with South Africa, the ruling party of South Africa these days is known as the Angry Naughty Children. If you didn't trust the ANC, then, which I think most people should realize you don't trust them, if you had the money, you should have stocked up. Of course, that might make you a target for illicit traders if they find out you've got stuff stored in your garage or your garage. Yeah, but anyway, yeah, so the booze is turned off. Now watch for more people to die from illicit home brew and for the illicit trade in alcohol to take off. And God knows where that money will go in the pockets of which corrupt politicians as illicit traders in alcohol get busy selling their alcohol. Never got a heads up for smokes. Message went out at 6:30 after the shops had closed 6 o'clock. Yep. I call it African National Corona. Well, Stronger Together. I like that one. I hadn't heard that one before. Feels like more like a PSYOP than the COVID regulations. Yes, Association of Native Criminals. Thank you, Willem Vikuspies. Willem, you're on fire, man. You were telling us about the prostitute there, Patricia DeLille, who goes from the Pan-African Congress to the African National Congress to the Independent Democrats to the Democratic Alliance to the African National Congress to the Good Party, whatever. Yeah, prostitute. So you've got it right. Angry Naughty Children sounds like the EFF. Yeah, but it doesn't match the acronym. You know, EFF is not that. I came up with another one for the EFF, but I've drawn a blank on what it was now. I got a few that stick with me. Hashtag sack of cock. That's mine. Carl Rohrbeck has subscribed. Well, thank you so much for subscribing to the channel and getting the where'd he go? He's gone. The zombie was climbing the Mahalisberg and he disappeared. Everything for free. There you go, Nigel. That's the best one, I think, for them. Tanya DeVenter is getting a kick out of that. Chris White, mocktails should be the thing in in South Africa now. Mocktails, absolutely true. Hilarious. So for those of you who missed it last night, let me fill you in very quickly. Last night, Cyril Ramaphosa, South Africa's wealthiest do-nothing president. I'm sorry, the gentleman who amassed a fortune on his great business acumen. And no, that's not true either. The man who was handed $450 million and turned it into $450 million 26 years later. Yes, that's right. Cyril was on last night and his latest performance of Can We Keep the Country Confused? Thank you for participating in this game show here on SABC. Can you keep the country confused, Cyril? Indeed, he did. Singing platitudes and happy little praises about how wonderful the African National Congress was and how it was so successful at containing the coronavirus, which when they started lockdown had 1,800 cases confirmed, with just a handful of fatalities, 260 if I recall correctly. Now with 275,000 and the number rising by 10 to 15,000 per day, Cyril tells us that they delayed the virus. Also tells us we should expect 40 to 50,000 people to die by the end of the year from the virus. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, South Africa has the distinction of having half of the confirmed cases of COVID-19 on the entire continent of Africa. 1.3 billion people living in Africa, and half of those excuse me, I'm all choked up. Half of those cases that are confirmed are in South Africa. Now, there are a lot of cases around the continent that have never been confirmed. People who are asymptomatic, never gotten tested for it, didn't even know they were sick or carrying it. But the point is, if you're keeping track of statistics, South Africa is winning the game. Thank you, African National Congress, for playing Keep the Country Confused. You have walked away with some lovely door prizes. Here you go. There you go. We're going to give you some land over here in the Karoo you can use to farm vegetables. Yes. Rec has just subscribed. There goes the zombie climbing the Mahalisberg. Come on, get up to the top. Up. He faded. Didn't quite make it. All right. So I guess we need members, someone to join the channel, and then we'll get the zombie higher up racing towards the peak of the Mahalisberg there at Oliphant's Neck, not far from Rustenburg in the background. That's the backdrop of my photo, folks. Anyway, so lovely parting prizes for the African National Congress, the angry, naughty children who have brought us chaos, economic turmoil, and racialization of every aspect of South African society. Thank you so much for this. We're so glad you played along with us here on the Angry Naughty Children. That's right. We are very happy. As you know, ladies and gentlemen, white people, by their nature, are racist. And this is why we have domestic violence. Yes, he actually said it. Wasn't fake news. It wasn't someone made up a meme and put it online attributing it to the boneless, brainless education minister. This is actual statements from the sitting president of South Africa. Yes, the man who racializes everything. I'm sure he will racialize pit latrines if he had the opportunity. Anyway, let's see what people have to say in the chat, and then I'll get back on the news. Let's see what I've missed here. Where's this at? The virus isn't, no, that's not. Cyril was bankrolled by the Oppenheimers. Yeah, the big businesses are in cahoots with the ANC, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't know that, you haven't been keeping score. There's a reason why there's a small number of monopolies in the retail sector, in the mining sector, and in virtually every sector in South Africa. They have a cozy relationship with the African National Congress. And as long as they get theirs, you get bupkis. Because SA does more testing. Yeah, they do more testing than the rest of the continent. That's probably correct, Erica. That's why I did allude to, the chat's not quite in sync with what I'm saying, but I did allude to the fact that there's many, many more people who have the virus and who have had the virus across the continent who've never been tested and never will be tested. Hey, Marius, good to see you there. South Africa, HIV, all going to 1 million graves. Ooh, who bankrolled the EFF? Yeah, that's a good question. Apparently the VBS Bank. Yikes. Ramaphosa's a joke, says Michelle. Well, I'm not going to argue with you there, Michelle. I still shudder that he said that scary stuff. Yeah, Dan, it's crazy. Listen, it's one thing to lie to Bloomberg and distort things. Now, I understand why he did it, because he was trying to tamp down the fact that the world might pay attention to South Africa and Plasmod, the murders on farms in South Africa. But when Cyril was at the United Nations and Bloomberg asked him this question, which was good of them to ask it, for a leftist news outlet, that was very impressive to ask it. Of course, he said, there are no farm murders in South Africa. Donald Trump has been wildly misinformed. No farm murders. Look, that's one thing. That's disingenuous, it's dishonest, and it's disheartening and dangerous to the security of all South Africans. By the way, in case you've missed it, ladies and gentlemen, it's not just white Afrikaans-speaking South Africans who are murdered on farms. I'm sure that people know this. Indians, including a pregnant Indian mother who had her throat sliced from ear to ear this past week, was butchered on a farm in South Africa, in KZN. It's colored South Africans. It's black South Africans. It's not simply white South Africans. And for a president to lie, to say there's no farm murders. There's farm murders in America. People get killed on farms. It happens. People get killed in cities. But to make a blanket statement like that, that's one thing. But then to have a president come out and say two things that are clearly racist, clearly intended to stoke racial discord and pit black South Africans in particular against white South Africans who are their brothers and sisters and friends and neighbors, to pit them against each other by saying, our economy is colonial and racist. I'm sorry. Where did those $450 million you got came from? Was it magic? Did it come from the German Democratic Republic? They don't exist anymore. Did it come from the Soviet Union? No. It came from equity stakes that you were given. You were given by the African National Congress in a corrupt practice of patronage so that you wouldn't be involved in politics, because they didn't want your big mouth in politics back in 94 to 99 to 2005. Only after the traumatic experience of the showerhead president of Jacob Zuma were they willing to let you slide in as vice president or deputy president and then become the president, and forgotten about your big mouth before, because now you got your money, they figure they can control you. And I think it's working, because the real president, Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, has told you how things really are. Anyway, yeah, so the man who gets $450 million from the colonial racist economy, once he's got his, that's what it is for everybody else, colonial racist. You can't participate in it. So that's Cyril about the economy. Now he talks about domestic violence. Ostensibly, it's a slant towards gender-based violence, blaming the rape and murder of women and girls in black neighborhoods on white South Africans, because apparently they must have introduced the concept of domestic violence to black Africans. Absolutely comical, ladies and gentlemen. This is a serving president of a nation, and people take snippets of Donald Trump and try to portray him to be like Ramaphosa. When actually Ramaphosa's that way, you listen to the whole story and you hear what he says. Ladies and gentlemen, that's who we're talking about here. Cyril. He has lost the plot as if he ever had it. Where are the arrests? What arrest? Who's got arrest? No arrest for the VBS Bank, that's for sure. State planned farm murders and terror camps 1960s. Ouch, Mark. Some people claim that. Yanni, is Yanni here? Hey, Yanni. Used to slot. My bell icon is broken. Yeah, I'm going to try to stick to the noon slot, folks, if you're curious. I used to do 11, but then Roman showed up in my time slot. No, just kidding. Anybody can. It's millions of YouTubers out there. But Roman has done his wind down at 11 o'clock now. And so I was testing that slot about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. I'm not going to use the 11 o'clock. The 12 works better for me here on the East Coast. And if I go back overseas, I'm in Africa, 6 p.m. works really well. Casper van der Westhuizen, welcome. That is like the coolest name, man. I really love that. Casper van der Westhuizen. I always think of Casper Van Dien, the actor, when I see that. I'm buffering badly. Oh, yeah, Erica, sorry about that. I had a problem, but I'm doing fine now, it looks like. Well, thank you to the 100 folks who've tuned into the stream. If you're new to the channel, let me just explain who I am so you know. Not just some ranting lunatic here who is invested in any of Ramaphosa's businesses. No, I'm not. I'm Chris Wyatt, retired U.S. Army colonel. Served 36 and a half years in the U.S. Army, 34 of those on active duty. And I just retired in October of 2019. Not because I'm broken, not because I'd had enough, not because I was hot full of serving, but because you can only serve so long by age and or longevity. And I'd reached my maximum of 30 years of service as an officer, so it was time to retire. Anyway, I've served 3 tours in Germany, in Bad Kreuznach, in Gelnhausen, Hanau, and Stuttgart. Hanau and Gelnhausen were the same tour. A tour in Italy. Also, I've served across Africa in Tunisia, Liberia, Botswana, Malawi, Niger, Mauritania, Uganda, and Ethiopia, where I worked at the African Union. Worked in HIV programs, tuberculosis programs, Ebola research programs. I've also done development, counterterrorism, peacekeeping operations, security sector reform, led the program to rebuild the armed forces of Liberia in 2007-2008. Designed with colleagues the entire intelligence infrastructure for the Botswana Defense Force, helped them implement that process to transition them away from spying on their own citizens and Zimbabweans to performing military intelligence, which was their role. I've taught undergraduate at Iowa State University. I've taught postgraduate at the U.S. Army War College, which was my last assignment. Worked at the National Security Agency, at the Defense Intelligence Agency, at the U.S. Africa Command. So I've been around the block a few days, and so not just your average ranter on YouTube. Now, that's not professing to be genius or bright or anything, just sharing with you a little bit of background if you're new to the channel. If you're new to the channel, I'd ask you to consider subscribing. Go ahead and become a subscriber. We had a couple folks already become subscribers since the stream started. Thank you so much for that. If you like the content or if you have comments or questions, go ahead and put it in the chat. I try to address as much of the chat as I can for folks. I ask that you smash that like button. Come on, folks. It's not that hard. It doesn't cost you anything. A like is free. And I've got a few permanent trolls who like to show up now. And so I'm pretty much guaranteed that no matter what happens on every video, I'm going to get at least one dislike because we've got one particular troll who has been very quiet the last few days because I stopped paying attention to him in the chat. But he does still show up because he's still subscribed and gives a dislike. And you know what? You're not required to like the video, folks. No one's asking you. But if you do like it at all, or you find it at least been interesting or entertaining, because sometimes we try to be entertaining, I ask that you smash that like button. Right. Also, very quickly, let me get this thing turned off. The sound is, come on, there we go. That's trying to turn off. Also, very quickly, by popular demand, shortly after I got this channel jazzed up and going, which was originally supposed to support my strategic consultancy, but because of lockdown, people were stuck at home. I was worried about people's mental health and fitness, also about people being trapped and being in close quarters. And, you can only watch so much of Netflix before you lose your mind, only so much of DSTV before you lose your mind. I decided that I would try to do some live streams, and it became somewhat interesting. People liked it, so I've caught on to that. Now, a lot of people asked me to do memberships early on and turn on monetization so they could super chat, and I did that. We've done that for a month now. I think today is 1 month. By the way, speaking of which, for Chris Wyatt Africa members, I'm going to do a members-only live stream this week. Give me an idea what day works best for you guys. I'm thinking Friday might be a good day to do it on Friday. I have a guest on Friday, but we can also do this on Friday, stream for members only. Also, for the Master and Commander level members, I will do a strategic video on a topic that interests you. So if you're a Master and Commander member of Chris Wyatt Africa, send me an email. And don't do it in the chat here because I can't keep track of that. I'm running the show and doing this. Send me that and let me know what topic you'd like me to do in a video. Now, that video I'll prepare for those at the Master and Commander level. It's the top level membership on the channel. And I'll hold it there. And then after a few days or a week, depending on what you guys are comfortable with, I'll release it to the public so everybody can see it. And then you'll be responsible for that topic. So you let me know. For those you know, I'm an intelligence officer and intelligence analyst by trade, among many other things I've done. And so if you give me a topic, I'll research it if I don't know it already, and we'll produce something that's useful and valuable to everybody. So that's kind of what we do on the channel. Anyway, so and those, just so you know, when you see the zombie climbing in the background, anytime somebody becomes a subscriber to the channel, and YouTube has the courtesy to notify my streaming software, then it shows up on there and you will be listed as someone who's subscribed. If you become a member, it goes a little higher up on the mountain. So membership's available for those who'd like to check it out. Anyway, folks, let me get back to comments in the stream. Then we'll get on to the news. Albert van Vijk says, been referred here by Ronaldo. Well, thank you, Albert. I hope you became a subscriber. Yeah, no, Ronaldo's a pretty cool egg. Some people have issues with him. A lot of people love him. And Ronaldo's a good guy. I like him. He's a little left of center, but he's a good egg. He's a good egg. Thank you for coming here from Ronaldo's channel. I really appreciate that. A lot of folks have come here from Ronaldo's channel. I actually appeared on his channel, spoke to him about 3 months ago. I called in, and people were like, who's this guy, man? Who is this guy? And so then Ronaldo's helped me build some membership early on, and I do appreciate that. Let me see. Where else we at here? Did you see where the journalist interviewed Juju about VBS? I did see that, Henrik declared. You talked about last week. And I had to change my undershorts because I wet myself laughing. It was so funny. 100 days, no one's arrested for producing, selling tobacco, cigarettes. Well, actually, Mary Duplessis, people have been arrested for smuggling them, but you're correct, not for producing or selling them. The only pandemic in South Africa is the ANC. Yeah, Maxim Margot. I like the sound of that. Nigel Taylor, who killed Chris Hani? Zuma said if he goes down, he's going to spill the beans. Yeah, folks. One of the reasons why Jacob Zuma became president of South Africa is because he was the head of intelligence from Konto Isizwe, or MK, and he knows where the bodies are buried. I think we'll probably find out who actually pulled the trigger for real on Chris Hani after Zuma is dead. We'll see. Yeah, Anthony says, let's get to 100 likes. Yeah, let's do that, folks. We're at 69 likes. 101 folks watching the channel right now. 70, there you go. Let's see if we can get some more likes on that. But not the henchos. What? Hendrik says, thank you for all your insights and knowledge that you share with us every day. Hendrik, it's my distinct pleasure. Listen, this is, like you guys, I got caught up in lockdown. Here in Pennsylvania, we have a capricious governor who rules like a, I don't know, like Mussolini or something like that. He just makes dictates that make no sense. We have counties in the state where there were 0 cases of COVID-19, and he put them on lockdown. And then he lifted lockdown in counties that had more cases than counties that didn't have it, and with no explanation. Anyway, so not nearly as bad as it's been in South Africa, but we have empathy for folks in South Africa and for Botswana and Zimbabwe, which have lockdown. At least in Namibia, they pretty much lifted internally. They've got a good head on their shoulders when it comes to the virus there. Maybe not so much in state-owned enterprises, but they do there. Anyway, so yeah, no, we have empathy for folks in South Africa. So I started doing the straight voltage. People were interested in it, and we kept it going. So I'm happy to share my insights and my experience and thoughts with you guys and opinions. By the way, listen, folks, if you ask me a question and I answer it in the chat, if you take offense, just let me know. I don't mean any offense. For those of you who are longtime viewers and streamers or followers of the channel, you know that I tolerate even trolls, right? I'm even Christian, who's been the biggest thorn in the chat for a lot of people. I have not really ever attacked that guy, despite the fact that he's called me the most ridiculous things and spews the most utter nonsense on this channel. I don't boot people out of the channel. But if you take offense to something and say, I just ask that you send me an email and say, hey, listen, you bothered me. What you said wasn't right. You probably shouldn't have done that. The reason I mention this is that someone who's a subscriber on the channel took offense to something I said. And I went back and watched the video 3 times and I couldn't find the offense. And we sorted it out. And in the end, it came to realize it was probably miscommunication in that the person who took offense was misunderstanding what was stated. And anyway, so there you go. So if you do take offense, let me know. None is intended. If offense is intended, now I do intend to offend politicians, and I do that on a regular basis intentionally because they have a responsibility to lead and to be responsible for the things they say and they do, and not to lie to people. But if someone's here in the chat, I don't usually abuse people in the chat. Well, I never do. So if anyone feels that way, just write to me and let me know. And if I do offend somebody, it's legitimate. Then I'll when I get something wrong, I'm willing to admit that. Yesterday, I misspoke about the USS Bonhomme Richard, which was on fire in San Diego. I was rushing, trying to do things, and I called it a nuclear carrier. It's not, as Tom pointed out. So if I get something wrong, I'm happy to correct the record. But anyway, thank you so much for that. The Minister of Justice and Correctional Services wants to, my chat just jumped up on me, wants to implement fines and jail time for not wearing a mask. Yes, the Minister of Injustice, Rodney Lamola. There you go. Mental health was challenged today. Sorry about that, Erica. Harley Quinn. I love that Harley Quinn. I keep thinking of that actress from Australia. The way things are in South Africa, do you think the landowners should keep their land or sell it while they're able to? Well, Harley, here's the problem. People already can't sell land in South Africa. People before the lockdown were trying to sell land and the values had collapsed. People are unwilling to buy land when the provenance of it is in question. And see, here's the deal. This is the reason why at the CODESA, the Convention for Democratic South Africa, an agreement was reached about the question of land. And the agreement was the following. Just a moment. Starbucks. There you go. Yeah, actually made by PepsiCo. But the agreement at CODESA was that there would be no land claims considered valid before 1910. Now, why 1910? 1910 there's a very specific reason why that date was chosen. 1910 marks the date that South Africa first became a country. Before that, it was a collection of colonies. The Cape Colony, the Natal Colony, the Zulu Kingdom, the Xhosa Kingdom, the Trekboer Republics of the Orange Free State, the Transvaal, briefly Natalia, and then also a few others, a few smaller ones that went away very quickly. But the Transvaal and the Free State lasted for a long time. And so it was never a country. It only became a country by an act of parliament by the United Kingdom in 1910 under the Union of South Africa Act. First census was in 1911. There were 5 million plus people living in what was then South Africa. 20% of them were white or European, and 60% were black African. There you go. They're about 60, 67%. So that's when the country became real. So the decision was made that you could make a land claim if you felt you were dispossessed or your parents or your grandparents going back to 1910. And that's a reasonable starting point, ladies and gentlemen. I think cogent people can say, okay, let's go back to that. But when you play the game that Julius Malema, and the Economic Freedom Fighters, or Everything for Free Party, as someone mentioned earlier, when you play the game they're playing, and now many members of the African National Congress are playing, oh, the land was stolen by Jan van Riebeck in 1652, and the whites are racist, and this is all wrong. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I can point to all sorts of land that was taken by the Zulu Nation from other tribes, whom they absorbed, wiped out, or chased off their land. The whole reason there's a separate tribe of the Ndebele today is because they refused to cow to the Zulus and fled. Mzilikazi fled from Dingane and moved his group, the Ndebele, away from Natal, up over the Drakensberg and into the Transvaal area, and then raided Basutu and Swana tribes, stealing their cattle and trying to incorporate them or wipe them out. When the Trekboers moved into that area, they came in conflict with them. And many Trekboer groups allied with Basutu and Griquas and the Swana tribes, and they defeated the Ndebele and drove the Ndebele all the way past Limpopo up into what became Zimbabwe, creating an ethnic problem there between the Ndebele and the Shona, which is their problem in Zimbabwe, but not South Africa's problem. So the Zulus absorbed lots of people and stole lots of land from other people through conquest. No one's questioning the right of the king of the Zulu today to be responsible for 2.8 million hectares of land that were under his control. Much of that land taken from other groups, some of which no longer exist. And we can go on and on. The Xhosa people and the Europeans, which people became the Boers, fighting 9 wars over the span of about 40 years in the Eastern Cape, around the Great Fish River, taking land, both sides, fighting back and forth. Yeah, we could do this all day. So the date was chosen as 1910. That's the date when there are no valid land claims before that. And that makes sense because those things are lost to the sands of history and time. And there's no one alive today who's affected by that. Oh, I don't want to hear about historical legacies. No. That's not legitimate. You can't blame people for the sins of the father. You can't take credit for the earnings of the father or the grandfather or the great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather. Listen, my 34th great-grandfather was William the Conqueror. So do I have claim to all of the United Kingdom? He was the king, William the Conqueror. Edward Longshanks was my ancestor. Do I own England? No. I have no claim on England. Let go. Anyway, so 1910 was the date chosen for land claims, and land claims are filed on that basis. But now we have people reneging on it and trying to go the other direction and distorting the argument. And I got way off track there. Sorry about that. Morton says, I can't become a member via phone and I can't get home. Oh, Morton's still in Mauritius. Yeah, that's all right, Morton. Thanks. We appreciate the sentiment. Eventually you'll get home, hopefully. Who has issues with Ronaldo? Gareth, are you serious? There's people who have issues with Ronaldo. They really are. There's people that have issues with me. There's people that have issues with Ronaldo. There's people that have issues with Roman. And right now, there's probably a few people that have issues with Germ between bringing witchcraft and Satanist. And boy, he's on a rant. Yanni says, are you not on Ronaldo's channel tonight? Yes, I am. At 8 p.m., I'll be on Ronaldo host channel. I'll be on there. Ronaldo is a good guy. I agree, Blakeman. Listen, so it's funny because I'm going to give Ronaldo crap if I remember on his channel tonight. But what happened was I listened to him on Man-Made Radio this weekend because he was on Man-Made Radio. And there's a promo for his show. And people give me a hard time about my G pronunciation Afrikaans. But I listened to the promo. And the person that speaks English who announces Ronaldo's program doesn't say Ronaldo hoes. He says, on Man-Made Radio, Ronaldo hoes. Ronaldo host. That's what he says. You guys give me grief for saying that. That's what the guy says on the radio. Yes, I realize he's wrong too, but I'm just saying. Anyway, let me see what else here. Casper says, this is how I see the situation. 1994, Mandela was released. We accepted this. After that, the first thing that happened was the local commando system was stopped with the SANAP section, increased farm murders. I don't know what that means. Mario Remix has donated 14 Rand through Super Chat asking, hi, how are you doing? Oh, I'm doing okay, Mario. I've had a good 48 hours. I made some interesting videos. Well, I think they're interesting videos, and people are watching them, so that's kind of cool. Yeah, thank you so much for the Super Chat, Mario. It's very much appreciated, and I'll be putting it to good use once YouTube pays me. So, Casper, you're saying that the local commando system was stopped with the SANAP section. I don't know what SANAP section means. And the commandos weren't taken out in 94. The commandos weren't removed until well over a decade later. 168 commando units were eliminated from the reserve force system, the territorial force, in the Ott decade. That's when they started. Around 2005 is when they started removing these, 2006. So they waited a decade before they did it. It still created a real problem of rural insecurity, which I think what Casper's point is. And that's something that I wrote about extensively when I worked in the intelligence community. It's something that I've talked about for the better part of 2 decades, that this was a foolish move and that would undermine rural security in South Africa. And that is, in fact, ladies and gentlemen, what it did. The commando system, which the ANC falsely and fraudulently attributed to a racist apartheid system, had nothing to do with racism, had nothing to do with apartheid. In fact, 4 of the newest regiments in the commando system were all black Zulu regiments. Frank Kutsia has just subscribed. Well, thank you so much, Frank Kutsia. Good to see that. I see that surname and I always think of Zeerust because that's where it comes from. Kutsi's Rest, Zeerust in Northwest, which I've driven through many, many times. Dusty little town on my way to Rustenburg and Pretoria. But yeah, so I got off track with that subscription. Thank you for subscribing so much. Yeah, so the farm murders, the commandos, 4 regiments were Zulu-based, all Zulus. And essentially for the Zulus, it not only was an effective rural policing force, but it was also a jobs program because a lot of these people didn't have jobs. It's the only source of income. And yes, it's a reserve unit. They didn't work all the time, but the time they were brought in, that money was critical for the families. So 168 commando units across South Africa were disbanded, taken apart. Now, the commando system has a long history in South Africa. It's kind of like the Minuteman system we had here in the United States where the local militia, There's conflict. Someone's attacking. You grab your rifle, your powder, your horn, your saddlebags. You jump on your horse. You grab your old enough kids. You get on horses. You ride to the next farm. You gather people up. You have a local commander, a captain, and then you respond and you defend your homeland. That's what the commando system is, and that's what it was, and that's what it grew out of. It didn't grow out of apartheid. It predates apartheid by a couple of centuries and had nothing to do with apartheid. But of course, the ANC, in their normal fashion, lied about what was really going on and distorted the facts. And they eliminated the commando system. And what do we see? Endless place mort, violence, theft, break-ins, squatting, all sorts of things taking place in rural South Africa. It is a really sad situation, exacerbated by political incompetence and intentional malfeasance. Erica said Casper's bang on. Clive Derby Lewis interview on Ernst. I have not seen that. Let me make a note of that one too. Okay, what I have to do is copy these things and put them in a text file so I don't miss them. Okay, there we go. I have not seen that. Hendrik says I'm too kind to trolls. I am. True. Chris says a high BS tolerance level. Erica, yes, but remember, I've worked in government. I've served in uniform, so I've been around BS my entire life. Especially when it comes to government. I worked with the State Department. A lot of good people in the State Department, but a lot of BS too. So I've dealt with it. I've dealt with African governments. You want to talk about patience and BS? Yeah. So let me just share this anecdotal story with you guys very, very quickly here. So when I was in Liberia, what happened was that I would go to meetings at the Ministry of Defense, and I would show up for an 11 o'clock meeting, and I'd get there early. I'm sorry, 10 o'clock meeting. I get there for a 10 o'clock meeting, and I'd show up probably about quarter till, right? And I didn't have a vehicle, so I had a driver who would take me from the motor pool. I'd have to request a vehicle, so I have to plan ahead. They would drive me to there. I'd be there in uniform. I'd show up. I'd go into the conference room. Someone would escort me in there, and I'd sit down. I usually took my laptop, and this is why I took my laptop. 10 o'clock, a few minutes after, about 5 or 10 minutes later, somebody come in and said, the minister's running a little bit late. Now, this is 8 out of 10 meetings, by the way, and not just in Liberia. This is all across Africa. The minister's running a little bit late. That's okay. Thank you. So I keep working. And then at about 10:30, one or two stragglers would come in. Hey, how are you, Colonel Wyatt? Yada, yada, yada. They'd sit down, and they wait for someone to come in. And I'd sit there and keep working. And about quarter till, someone would come back and say, there's something else going on. The minister and the others will be here shortly. And after 11, the underlings start filling up the conference room. And by 11:15, 11:30, we actually start the 10 o'clock conference. That's what I call West Africa time, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm accustomed to BS. It doesn't mean I like it. And I tolerate it here because some of the trolls come in here that say BS actually raise issues that we should talk about. And so when they try to play these games, it's actually fun. But yeah, I do have a high tolerance for it, Eric. I've been far too kind. Mark Rand says ANC have had 60. Where's this at? Oh, come on. Had 60 years to plan to destroy all minorities. We left, as we knew. I advise you need a normal life to work or leave. Oh, okay. Hendrik's talking about Namibia. Okay. And Albert, the reality is that most of these offended want to say what they want, but don't want to give you the same opportunity to say, yeah, that's true. You're right, Albert. That is true. You cannot offend someone if you tried. Well, thank you, Christoph. That's very kind of you. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Let me see what else we got here in the chat and catch up a little bit here. Interesting vibes listening to Van Cook in the background while tuned. Yeah, Van Cook. Good music. Good music. Hendrik de Klerk. By the way, speaking of good music, ladies and gentlemen, if you're new to the channel and you're not familiar with it, you should check out Giselle. Giselle is a fantastic Afrikaans singer. She's from Namibia. She's a Boer Meissie. Yeah, that's right. Yes, they're a Boer in Namibia. And she grew up on a cattle ranch, a cattle post in Namibia. And she sings in Afrikaans. She has a bit of a funny accent, though, because it's the Namibian Northern Cape. She also lived there as a kid growing up. Lives in Pretoria area, and she is the artist who performed the song Sight-West, if you've heard Sight-West, that beautiful song about Namibia, Southwest Africa. Farmers Travels has just become a member. Okay. I don't know if that's Herman or, but Farmers Travels is the name of Herman Roos' channel where he talks about traveling around the world. So thank you, Farmers Travels, for Master and Commander. And like I said, I don't know if that's Herman, but if it's Herman, thank you so much. He's already a member. So thank you so much for becoming a member. Really appreciate it. But where was that in the discussion there? I threw myself off a little bit there. Now's a good time to sell. Low interest rates mean there are buyers in the market. Yeah, it depends. Variable vision. House prices are in the crapper in a lot of South Africa because nobody's been able to buy anything. A lot of people lost jobs. So housing market collapsed in the Western Cape there. Prices dropped by as much as 40% in some cases. Hendrik says, when I was in Maryland in 2007, there was an international store. We could buy things like Umarusk, Marmite, Aromat. Don't know if it's still there. I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with that store, but if you knew where it was at, I'd love to know. I'd get some South African products there. I'm not aware of any around here. Michelle Jardin says, so nice to hear someone who actually knows South African history. Well, thank you, Michelle. I appreciate that. Nothing left to run away from. Doc Brown, the time continuum needs to be put right again. Yeah, I think so. Let's get into the DeLorean and go. Trying to figure Chris as the king of England. Hey, I got a claim to it, man. I got a claim to it. Before these these usurpers in the current House of Windsor, which is really a German family, usurped our throne, those of us of Viking descent, we owned the throne for centuries. That's right. Anyway, Mully, welcome. Many have lost their jobs, don't have the funds to finance immigration, aren't allowed to work currently as informal workers, and can't sell their homes if they lost them. And many, about 250,000 South Africans have now been branded as criminals and have pending court cases, which have yet to been set aside. And so they won't be able to immigrate if they have a criminal record. That's going to be a problem for them, even though they're not criminals. Variable Vision says, can you say aluminium? Ah, gotcha. Variable Vision, you thought I was going to say aluminum. Oops, aluminum. Yeah, aluminium. That's what you want me to say. Yeah, that crazy cock English pronunciation of the word aluminum. Aluminum. It's a softer, throaty G for hose. Okay, Gareth. So Ronaldo hose. How's that? All right, folks. Well, thank everybody I'm really grateful everybody's tuning in today. Is this a good time for everybody? People said this is a good hour for me to do this. Mandela was released in 1990, not 94. Who said 94? I didn't say 94. Did I? If I implied that or you inferred that, that was not what I was saying. I taught 94 is the date I picked because that's when the ANC came to power in April of 1994. They won the elections. So Morton, I'm not so sure if somebody else said that or if you're saying that was me. If I said it, that's not what I intended. Yeah, Mandela was released in 1990. But his release was started as early as 1986, 87 when he met in private. They began to reach out to him. PW both started reaching out to him. And so that's when it actually started. Yep. Farmers Travels. The person behind the commandos being removed was old Terror Lakota. Yes, former defense minister and the guy who's responsible for the Congress of the People, that party that's feckless, useless, and might as well just disband. Basically, it's a party of we're Thabo and Becky supporters, and you hurt our bum by kicking us out at Polokwane. So we're starting a party, which managed to get 7.5% of the vote in the next election, which was shortly afterwards, and then just fell off the table. Commandos started getting disbanded in 2002 in the area I was staying in. Okay, Gareth, but they weren't formally disbanded until 2005 was the time frame. So there may have actually disbanded some years before that, but that's when the actual orders from the government went out. So I don't know if that was a reorganization that was taking place in 2002, which is possible. Militaries tend to do that. Units get reorganized, get right-sized. I hate that phrase. And they get moved around. Rainier Duplessis says, Chris, what's your impression of the Sightlanders? I don't know enough about the Sightlanders. I do know I watched the video of the guy who's from there. I can't think of his name right now. It's actually an Anglo name. He's not an Afrikaans speaker, but he's part of Sightlanders. And he predicted the apocalypse a few weeks back, and it wasn't the apocalypse on the day of the African child. I don't know where they got their information from or if they're just trying to frighten people. I'm not trying to say anything about them. I'm just saying that it was wildly off the mark and got a lot of people scared. In fact, somebody came on my channel, and I was talking about something, and we were kind of being a little jocular about something, and they got angry with me. How can you be doing this? This is a serious time. It's all going to happen tomorrow. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. And it was all tied to this Day of the African Child and this rumor that was spread that people were going to invade farms and murder white South Africans on farms in mass all across the country. And Sightlanders gave people that impression. I saw the video, and that's what the gentleman did. So I don't have a negative or positive impression of the Sightlanders. Some of the things that they're for, I have no trouble with it because I was a military person. We plan for everything. I mean, listen, when this pandemic started and we had a lockdown here in the United States, I go to my basement. I got shelves full of canned goods. I got lots of water. I got lots of drink. I got lots of soap. By the way, lots of toilet paper and paper towels already. Now, why is that? Because I'm in the military. I prepare for these things. I buy things when I can. I get good deals. If I see a great bargain, I'll buy it. I'll put it in the pantry. I'll store it. And also because I spent good part of the last 2 decades living in Africa in multiple countries in which I couldn't access these goods. So we'd ship them in our household goods, and then we'd stick them there. That's what we did when we go to embassies. That's what Americans do. And then we have these things in our consumables allowance, and we have them. We store them. So yeah, you prepare for rainy day. So the Sightlanders are rainy day preparers or preppers. And so I have no objection to that. They apparently have a very robust communications network to early warn people in South Africa. As long as they don't abuse it, I have no issue with them. So that's kind of my view on the Sightlanders. People have asked me to get them on the channel, but I haven't done that yet. And after I saw that video and the backlash on it, I'm like, okay, maybe I can wait a little bit longer to bring the Sightlanders on. Yeah. Yeah, Gareth, 2002. That doesn't surprise me. I'm sure there are probably units being reorganized before that. Who has had the privilege of shooting R1s and R4s? I've never shot either one. Christoph, oh, he's talking to Erica. I can see Chris as a squire in the old times. With his beard, maybe. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, yesterday I was in Barnes & Noble, which is our bookseller. It's like exclusive books in South Africa. And I was looking at magazines, which are old now. They still haven't replaced the magazines. The ones from February, March haven't been replaced because I think a lot of magazines just ceased to print. Anyway, I walked in the section with hobbies, and there's the gun section, and I saw an issue, and I looked this beautiful Sig Sauer. Oh, my goodness. I don't have any handguns right now, but I almost wanted to rush out and buy that thing. Wow. Yeah, that's beautiful. Beautiful sidearm. Really, really liked it. Would love to have had that. Quentin has a prep pantry. Yeah, smart move. Good job. Scare people to give them money, and you get what? GPS coordinates to some asbestos house in the Northern Cape. Well, I think we know how Tian feels about the Sightlanders. Let's see how many South Africans oppose this lockdown. Even Germ was ranting. He was ranting. Germ warfare. Jeremy Nell was he hotful. Yeah, by the way, I've produced a video, which I haven't had time to upload. As soon as I go off the stream here shortly, I'm going to upload that so I can premiere it before I go on Ronaldo's program. Ronaldo Hoos. Before I go on his program at 8 p.m., I'll debut it probably at quarter till or at the bottom of the hour. Actually, I go at if it loads in time, it'll be at 7:30. And this one's talking about the ANC and how they've lost the plot. Anyway, so I'll debut that. So if you can hang around or can come back after we get off this stream, I appreciate that. By the way, folks, thank you all for tuning in. If those of you who are new here and never been to the channel before, I hope you're finding it interesting. Quentin says Germ lost it. Yeah, Germ definitely lost it. Vernon Naga says, hey there, welcome. Ice, where have you been, Ice? I'm not going to work on my G if you never show up. Where have you been, Ice? I haven't seen Ice in Ice and UCN were missing in action. I was about to get a milk carton and put your avatar on there because you guys have been missing in action. I haven't seen Ice in ages. There you go. And the Brew is here today. Good to see the Brew. Rainier Duplessis. Chris, if William the Conqueror is your ancestor, then you may be a descendant of the Duplessis. His wife, Matilda. Yes, you are correct, Rainier. That is correct. So we're distant cousins. Yeah, Matilda. That's absolutely right. Yep. And Christian. Yeah, Christian's missing, but you know why, Yanni? I haven't addressed him. I haven't said anything. Have you heard how Chris pronounces Yanni? Yanni. Well, I know. I listened to Reese pronounce it, and she pronounces it differently. So Yanni doesn't take offense to how I pronounce it. So give me a break there. Yeah, well, Christian will never zoom in because he's 12 years old and his mother doesn't give him camera privileges. Come on, Yanni. You know that. Now, that's about as mean as I've ever been to Christian. And Christian's been quite nasty and snarky on this channel, for those who don't know. Anyway, yeah. So there were a couple of the news items. Let me get to those before the hour closes out here. Let me find this real quick. So in case you didn't know this, ladies and gentlemen, here it is. I'm going to put this up on the screen. Where is my... There it is. Okay. I'm trying to find my browser. Here we go. All right. So the Washington Redskins from the National Football League, a team known as the Redskins since 1933, I think it is, will no longer be known as the Redskins, because a handful of malcontents claim that it's a disparaging term. It's a racial slur. Ladies and gentlemen, as a young 7-year-old, I was given my first football helmet and my first football jersey for Christmas, and it was the Washington Redskins. And I love the Redskins. Look at that symbol. Is that a caricature? Is that something that slurs Native Americans? That looks to me to be a proud warrior. And it's celebrating the heritage of Native Americans, calling the Redskins. You know? This is insane. But after decades of denying they would do it, they're going to drop the logo. So I will be renaming the Washington Redskins the District of Columbia Pansies. That's right. We'll call them the Water Lilies, something like that. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. And for those of you who missed it, once again, the Islamist state of Erdogan is turning Turkey back into a fascio-Islamist state. Turkey is now turning the Hagia Sophia, the cathedral from the Orthodox Church, which was conquered by Islam in 1453 and turned into a mosque, They took a cathedral and turned it into a mosque. Yet people are accusing Christianity of attacking Islam. Yeah, funny how that works. They're now turning it back into a mosque. There you go. That's right. Back into a mosque. Hagia Sophia has been an attraction for tourists worldwide, visited by millions of people every year. People in Turkey and around the world have expressed mixed opinions on social media following the Turkish government's controversial decision to turn Istanbul's iconic Hagia Sophia back into a mosque. Istanbul, folks, ladies and gentlemen, Istanbul, also known as Constantinople. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. So that's being turned back into a mosque in Constantinople or Istanbul. Yes, but when George Bush called his war on terrorism a crusade, he was attacked for being racist and xenophobe. It was a crusade. Anyway, so the Crusades, for those who were not keeping score, were an effort by Christian kingdoms in Europe to get rid of their fighting age people so they'd fight somewhere else, but to reconquer the lands captured by Muslims that were Christian, the origin of Christianity and Judaism. Yeah, that was the Crusades. So, and more news, out in Hong Kong, 600,000 people participated in an unofficial poll to voice their protest against new security laws in Hong Kong. Yep. It's out of control. Hong Kong's opposition camp said on Sunday that over 600,000 citizens in the Chinese-ruled city cast ballots over the weekend in primaries it cast as a symbolic protest vote against tough national security laws imposed by Beijing. The unofficial poll will decide the strongest pro-democracy candidates to contest election in September to Hong Kong's Legislative Council. Then they aim to seize majority control for the first time from pro-Beijing rivals by riding a wave of anti-China sentiment stirred by the law, which critics say has gravely undermined Hong Kong's freedoms. Indeed, it has. In the meantime, the United Kingdom has offered Hong Kong's 3 million residents who have ties to the United Kingdom ethnic Chinese entry to the United Kingdom. That's right. You know, United Kingdom, the racists, the white people in the UK, the reason they left Europe because they're racist and they didn't want immigrants coming in. That's right. You remember this. That was a narrative. That's what they said about the Brexiters, the Brexiteers, is that they're all old white people who are racist and they don't like brown people, and that's why they're leaving the European Union. Nothing to do with the fact that Brussels is telling them what size they can have for a pint of beer, what they can do with their electrical plugs. The British voters told Brussels what it can do with all its regulations and had nothing to do with race. Maybe some people voted that way, but that's not what it was all about. They weren't even part of the Schengen agreement. They sat outside Schengen, so it had no impact on it, despite the left lies about what was going on. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. So Hong Kong, 3 million ethnic Chinese now can go to the UK sometime soon as migrants, if they like. The racist white folks in the UK. If you look at the cabinet of Boris Johnson, it's full of Indians. Not very white racist of them. Anyway, Marius was born in Namibia. Awesome. Cool beans. Erdogan is an Islamic nationalist. He is. He's a fascist is what he is. I think he's using Islam as an excuse. He's not really an Islamic person. I don't think that's the case. China will rule the world, it seems. No, it won't happen, Tunes. It's not going to happen. China is falling apart as a consequence of their screwed up reaction to the coronavirus. Did you hear China hired former Bell Pottinger guys to handle the press? Hong Kong is over China. Yeah. I hadn't heard that. Stuck in the UK. Oh, well, there's worse places to be stuck, Hendo. What's that? Svalbard. Who's going to Svalbard? Svalbard's cool. I like Svalbard. Belongs to Norway, up there in the Arctic Circle. Well, folks, thank you for tuning in. Oh, yeah, one more. I should mention this. 2 things before I go off here. This one here very quickly. Here it is. In case you didn't know, in Major League Rugby, that's our professional league here in the United States, which was in its 3rd season this year when the league was suspended after 5 games because of COVID-19. 5 ex-All Blacks players are behind a new Hawaiian franchise. So we'll be getting a Hawaiian team playing in Major League Rugby. How cool is that? If you're a Major League Rugby player, you'll get to fly out to Hawaii and experience games out there. That should be pretty cool. And I'd like to offer this up. One of the subscribers has a business online, and another South African trying to make ends meet. And Peace of Mind Clothing is the store in which you can buy some of these lovely articles of clothing if you like. I have nothing to do with this. I'm just doing as I typically do on this channel, where I share information about businesses in South Africa so people are aware of it. So today I'm highlighting this business, Peace of Mind Clothing. So there's the link. Check it out if you want to go see what they've got to offer. Has nothing to do with me. Just like PPE has nothing to do with me. The only business venture I've got going on here is my channel, and I thank you guys for being members and subscribers to that. And so that's Peace of Mind Clothing. There's the links if you guys want to check it out. Feel free to do that. Anyway, so I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I am not going to run over today because I need to load the video about Gatvol with Ramaphosa, the National Coronavirus Command Council, and the ANC. I need to load that video up and then try to premiere it at the bottom of the hour if YouTube loads it fast enough. So look out for that in about 30 minutes if you're hanging around. If not, I'll air it a little bit later. But I'll be on at 8 p.m. live on Ronaldo Ho's program. Ronaldo Ho's. You'll catch me live on the Sunday service. Yes, it's not Sunday, it's Monday. We were delayed because Cyril shared his sack of cock broadcast last night with the nation. So I got booted for Cyril. I can survive that. He's got a bigger bank account and a lot more power than I do. So I'll be on Ronaldo's program at 8 o'clock. So look forward to that. And please hang out and check out my videos. Please check out the one I did last night. That thing is trending really well. I'll have to check and see where it's at. But that thing, last time I looked, was really, really doing well. I think close to or over 2,000 views in just a matter of hours. So back on track with the video. That people found interesting. So I'm really glad that people have checked into that. Let me see if I can get to that very quickly and see where we're at before we sign off. And I called that one Ramaphosa's Sad Songs, Cyril's Sad Songs. And that's a play on, of course, Elton John's 1984 song, Sad Songs. Yeah, so let me see where we're at on that one right now. And then I did another one on Sudan this morning. I have a third video coming up. So that one is almost to 2,000. Can we get 2,000 people to watch that one? That'd be really cool. 1,972. So if 28 people could slide on over there and watch Cyril or Ramaphosa's Cyril's Sad Songs if you got a few minutes. Anyway, folks, thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate it. The audience liked the engagement you've had here. Yanni, thanks for sharing that link to the song. Or to the video. And I'll see you guys on the premiere in a half hour or 45 minutes, depending how quick I can get it loaded. And then I'll see you again at the top of the next hour on Ronaldo's program. So please check out Ronaldo Hosts, and I'll be on there, and we'll be talking about geostrategic issues. Thanks a lot, folks. Amanda Estelle Hugo says, very good chat on sad songs. Well, thank you so much. That was a prepared video, so you're most welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. This has been an Indaba Africa production. Thank you so much for your time, and I'll catch you shortly. I just got to make sure I get this thing done right here.